Alright, hello again to anyone watching these Kaijudo videos. Today bringing you another match from the Rangers Dojo run event that I was hosting, the Kaijudo Open, and I'm joined once again by StenceTB.
What up,
How's it
y'all?
going?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So this time around, we're actually going to be covering the match that we played against each other. So that should be enjoyable to get both of our sides of this.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I played Light Nature Ramp, which I think we've seen already this event. But I don't know. This is the first time we've had you on to talk about your own deck. Did you want to go a little more in depth on the build of Water Dark Nature control that you brought, and then we can go a little bit on the matchup?
Yeah, absolutely. I may go into like more depth in like a later video, or I may talk a whole bunch in the Discord in a future date about like how I'd rebuild this so that it's not in the state that it's in. But suffice it to say, this deck was like an amalgamation of a bunch of different ideas that I had from probably 6 to 10 months ago that I got bored with, and then I shelved, and then I got bored with, and I shelved again, and it like progressed like that for quite a while. And then
Understandable.
yeah, and then I saw, oh, these guys need like one or two more guys. Okay, my schedule's a little bit more free. I've got time. I'll hop in, and I'm like, what do I want to play? Well, this looks fun. Let's just give this a shot. And
Yeah.
I think in my Kaijudo channel.com like profile, it's still labeled as WIP or work in progress. So, yeah, this deck is bad and I know it, but that's okay. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's good stuff about it at the very least.
Yeah,
I think, yeah,
the synergies kind of conflict with each other sometimes, though. For example, Kurigar really needs to be pulling creatures, and I put in a bunch of spells. Probably not the wisest.
yeah,
The Tivsters probably could have just been Corile, because originally I wanted them to be smaller so that I could go into Amgoth a lot easier, but then I cut everything, go to Amgoth. I originally wanted to make this very like board destruction heavy, with like a bigger emphasis on like Bloom Wardens and Goop Strikers and like Johnny Darkseed Ripper Reaper
yeah,
and
and
like
then
yeah, stuff like that.
so yeah, because it feels like you kind of moved away from that stuff, but then like the Agrics kind of remained,
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
imagine.
Exactly. And then the Agrix very rarely pulls anything
Yeah, I
because,
mean, it does some stuff, but it's not like it's definitely closer to like just kind of a giant vanilla beat stick than a lot of the decks that are actually built to like use it really well. But I mean, it still can do some big powerful things. Like
exactly.
because if you have like a Bronze Arm tribe into Johnny Darkseed into like an Agrix, that's still reasonable. Like you do a bunch of ramping that way.
Yeah. It can act as like a more bodied ramp engine for sure.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what I was going for a little bit more so. It's like, oh, let's play a ramp like way beforehand. Let's play a ramp core that like it can ramp itself and like maintain some board presence to kind of combat aggro at the same time. Because
yep,
your list, by contrast, is all in on that early game ramp. You only play 6 creatures that are less than 6 mana. Um,
yeah,
and obviously that's a much more streamlined build. Uh, but I
yeah.
think against like a super powerful or a super like aggressive deck or a rush deck, that's a very bad matchup for you.
It can be, I guess. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
I
if you
think,
don't hit Tendril and Shields, and if you don't hit one of your 6 blockers, how do you defend generally?
yeah, I mean, it probably doesn't play out that poorly overall. Like against the really linear rush decks, the more problematic matchups would be like anything with Keeper of Laws that's like complementing aggression. Like any of Lightwater X decks are probably going to be even more tough.
True, for sure.
But I think the linear rush decks, like I have 12 Shield Blasts
Mm.
and or 12 Defensive Blasts, and then a lot of ramp is usually actually enough. Like a blocker and a Lyra, and then you can get to Andro quick enough. Like I don't think those matchups are terrible.
Fair
But
enough. I'd have to see how it plays in my head.
yeah,
I know my own luck with shield blasts, and I go, I don't know if 12 is enough against rush, but that's me.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's just the spell-based ramp package that I'm going for is pretty weak to Keeper of Laws is like the main thing.
yeah,
Whereas like
or like
the
a cyber scamp.
creature-based, yeah, that too. Um, Especially like when I did cut the artichokes as well, that made me a little bit weaker to Cyber Scamp, especially. But
Mm.
But yeah, but your side, like the creature-based ramp does definitely makes a lot of sense. Like it's great with the um it's really good with the like supporting the Kurgar
Mm.
and all that stuff, and then also
Yeah.
lines up better against like the spell punishing creatures and things of that nature.
I think I originally had 2 or 3 Boron in this list, and that was more kind of synergy with that kind of like kill your own stuff and then pull something back
Yeah,
out, ramp something. Like if I had found a way to kind of cut the shell down and then make it a little bit more streamlined, and then with all the self-sacrifice, that's when Cordia the Soul Tyrant was actually
yeah,
supposed to get a whole bunch of value, because then I could like ramp 9 things from the graveyard, hopefully do it with a Kurigar on the board, pull like 9
yeah.
things out the deck. Like that was the goal, right? That's the pipe dream. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah, my experience or like the problem when you go down those rabbit holes is like it's like all these super synergistic stuff, but
Mm.
it's all super expensive.
Yeah.
Like you're
How do
talking
you
about
get there?
Kurgar and Boran and Agrix
Mm.
and Cordia and like everything is like 8 plus mana cards, and
Mm-hmm.
then if you want to play all of them, you're doing like one copy of each or something ridiculous. Like it's like a really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you need a ton of support cards, and then, like, the support cards you're playing are I don't know, you just have this huge pile, and it's kind of like this weird synergy pile that's, like, does its thing, but
And that's
usually
why
you
I
just, like
scrapped a bunch of them, and I put in just
yeah,
like as I think you said in your deck video of like just good spells, so to speak, just like
yeah,
generic good cards. And yeah, they do the job, but like in doing so, I broke half my synergy engines, and also Kurigar doesn't get nearly as many great targets as it was. You
yeah.
know.
I think, yeah, like, what you ended up with was just basically just, like, a Water Dark Nature control deck that has, like, maybe a few weird card choices,
Mm.
but mostly it's just, like, a Water Dark Nature control that's, like, using Kurigar as, like, a win condition.
Mm.
Where you just unlike the light stuff that's, like, really insanely powerful, like,
Mm.
Haven, Andro, Cass, like, those cards, they're, like, win conditions that also stabilize you, whereas, like, Kurgar is more of just, like, a win condition that you kind of reduce the game state, and then you kind of hope to leave it in play and take over the game with it, but
Mm.
it's not very good at, like, being a stabilizer, unlike the light cards, which is why the light ones are so insanely powerful.
Yep.
But it's and yeah, like, that's why this deck is, like I think we'd both agree it's, like, basically just, like, kind of an inferior approach to light decks as most
Oh, for sure.
approaches are in
For sure.
Kaijudo.
Yeah.
But I think, like, a Water Dark Nature control deck can just be, like, pretty solid with that approach, and, like, using Kurigar as a win con is fine. I think, like, one of the big things that we talked about was, like, Squillis Scourge is I think
Hmm.
it just, like, triple Kurigar, triple Squillis would be, like, a really, really powerful top end for this deck.
For sure. I
And
think
then
I originally didn't include Squillace just because I generally don't like the card. I don't think it's very healthy for a game state, because Squillace just kind of ends games in like a very unfun way because your opponent just goes, well, I'm literally not
yeah.
allowed to play around that, or to play
Yeah,
like,
it's weird.
yeah,
It is weird, but, like,
it's
some cards need to end games, so
yeah, no,
it's
I mean,
usually fine.
and that's fine. It's just a very very limited interactivity associated with it
Mhm.
that kind of bothers me. It's like, oh, I can't block, I can't attack. It's just like, no, you can't play the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is one of the more powerful, expensive cards
Yeah.
that's around.
So I
Yeah.
originally, I think I cut the Borans to add one Squillace and something else, and obviously Squillace is very good, but I just like, if I was going to make a optimized, like very very strong list, I'd just be
Mhm.
playing light, right? So
Yeah, that's the thing, but if you're I think there's still, like, room and, like, there's a space to have fun with just, like, trying to make a very good version of, like, Water Dark Nature control,
mm,
and just understand, like, I'm making, like, a very good version or, like, a cohesive, like, sensical, like, strong version of a bad deck, but it's, like, a good version of a bad deck still has, like, a place to exist and
yeah,
fun with it.
yeah,
Overall, like it yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it's just like you're building a worse version of, like, an archetype that could play better cards, but it's still the best version of what it is in specific, I guess.
yeah.
But
There's something like that. I think there's definitely room for refinement within this list, but like
yeah.
it's okay for now. Like for example, if I were to rebuild this, I'd probably put I'd change the curve around a whole bunch. I'd probably have to add some like Troxes or something so that I had some kind of answer to Haven. I'd
Mhm.
probably go a little bit more in on the hand destruction element of it. Maybe probably like Maddening Whispers or something off the top of my head. I'd probably get off the
Yep.
Kurigar package. Because if I'm not going to play like a super, super heavy top end, Kurigar doesn't really get there. Yeah, there'd be a lot of retooling to do with this deck, but like that's part of the challenge. That's part of the fun. It's not an
Yep.
optimal list. I don't think in Kaijudo's history there was ever a like actually competitively successful list in these colors. I don't think there was ever one competitively successful list in these colors. So that was part of the
Yeah.
challenge. It's part of the fun, right?
At least not in, like, the KMC seasons.
No, no. Someone might have done
Yeah.
something with locals. I know I brought to a KMC. Uh, oh god, I want to say this was Shattered meta, maybe Invasion Earth. I brought a Water Dark Nature tempo list built around Fear Feather the Scavenger.
Nice.
Yeah, the black green Evo that's like a Chimera Treekin or something. I forget what it
It's
does.
not bad.
Something to do with
When it
like
wins a battle, you ramp and they discard at random, so it, like, does a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
except the bait is non-existent. There's no bait
Yeah,
for
I
that
mean,
thing. It's
yeah, it's
so bad.
chimeras.
I would
It's
like
also
three
weird,
three.
yeah. Chimeras have, like, no there's actually not very many, like, 2 drops, like, they're just, like, vanilla,
hmm
especially not back in the day, like, you had to be, like, mono dark to have Scavenging Chimera.
Exactly. So like, yeah, man, I wanted these colors to work. I wanted these colors to work so bad.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a fine thing. Do you have any thoughts, any theories going into the matchup in specific between us?
Going into the matchup, obviously the match is already over, right? So without spoiling anything, my thought going in was I needed one to get a little bit lucky, and two, get lucky with regards to like how you drew and what you were forced to mana early with all of
Yeah.
your ramp off the top of the deck. And two, I kind of felt like I needed to go under you because my answers to Haven are just Goop Striker. That's pretty much it. Or Slam a Squillache and then get there within 2
Yeah,
turns.
with a huge board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thought was, all right, I've kind of got to go under him and like ramp better than him, which is unlikely considering how like refined your ramp is. But at
Yeah.
least I could like contest board with
But
like,
you have the tools though, like Darkseid is really strong at ramping. Like,
mhm,
I think you're less consistent at it than I am, but, like, there's still draws that you can assemble that are as fast,
yeah, for sure.
of course.
But
Like,
it might,
the ceiling is, like, comparable in terms of ramp, but obviously, yeah, it's just a
yeah,
frequency.
yeah, your top Evan is going to be much better. And then my like quote unquote best case scenario is if we get into like a super late game situation, I need to just build a really, really wide board with Kurigar so that even if you block, I don't know, three,
Yeah,
four things with Havens and
it
like,
definitely gets tricky though, yeah.
yeah, then you just end up stalemating and then you slam a Cassiopeia and then most of your stuff is bigger than mine. And I
Mhm.
just go, well, there's the game.
Yeah, I felt yeah, like, I felt pretty favored based on my preparation. I think, like, choosing to go second was, like, a big thing that was I think whoever chooses to go second has a little bit it ups their odds. I think it's better to go second in this matchup.
hmm
Um, I think, yeah, like, you had the 3 mesmerize, which was, like, pretty crucial for you to see.
Yeah, it's true. That's absolutely true.
Just so because if you can, like, snipe a Haven or
hmm
something like that matters a lot. If you can just pick one off, and then I have to find one again later, like, that really matters.
hmm
And yeah, like, whoever goes second, it's, like, easier for them to assemble their ramp draws and lets them like, it lets you play a mesmerize while still being able to, like, curve out reasonably well. And yeah, like but even still, like, I wasn't too scared because even if the game gets away from me in the early game, like, I felt like when I was, like, doing my prep, I was feeling like even if you had, like, a Kurgar active for a few turns, it wasn't a big deal for me. Like, all I needed to do was, like, land a Haven or you don't have particularly, like, a ton of spot I mean, you have Terror Pits and the Grips, but even still, like, there was a decent chance, like, if I just, like, play Cassiopeia, you can't really answer it, and then I can untap and kill a Kurgar with it or something like that. Like,
hmm
I felt like yeah, like, the Kurgar wasn't too threatening 'cause also, if I just play an Andromeda, even though it's smaller than Kurgar, like, it just makes it really hard for you to kill me, and then that just buys me time, and then you never wanna, like, just send in the Kurgar because you give me 3 cards, and any 10 drop or that I find off those basically just becomes, like, lights out because now I have a bunch of cards and yeah.
Yeah,
I felt yeah,
exactly.
I felt the games that I would lose are like pretty infrequent because it's like you have to have a really good ramp draw. I kind of have to, or I just like have a really bad draw myself that you don't even need a ramp draw to get there quicker than me, like a
Mm,
really good ramp draw. But yeah, if you just get out ahead, land a Kurgar, and then you needed to have that Kurgar stay in play and build up, have some good hits off the Kurgar, and then you needed to have like a really well timed Squillis, and
mm,
like you needed a bunch of things to go right for you to really be able to get under the havens properly.
mm. Yeah, there was worlds where I win, but they were few and far between.
Yeah,
And
oh,
I
that's
was
fair enough.
actively considering like, man, I might have to hold absolute darkness the whole game so I can beat over havens. Like that was the point I was at. It
Yeah,
was
like that's the thing too. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
It's not a good thing, especially in this deck where I just want to be like kind of dump stuff out of my hand as quickly as possible and ramp, and then just let Sephilia refill me a lot of the time.
yeah.
Uh,
Like there were spots too where like with just the one Omgoth, it doesn't come up too much, but like sometimes that card can do stuff that's good.
yeah,
Like if you just line it up
very
well.
occasionally.
Yeah, it's hard to set up, and I don't know, it's just weird, but
Mm,
sometimes you can get there with that card where it does some good stuff.
mm,
But yeah, I guess I don't know. That's probably enough. We can
yeah, let's
jump
get into the
into
matches.
game one if you want.
Yep. Da, 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 and all right, here we are.
Oh yeah, I guess that card's reaping so MTG art, unfortunately.
Eh, it is what it is. All right. So, should we talk about opening hands?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you got double mesmerize, which is pretty nice to see.
Yeah. I don't think I ended up
And
playing both, which was now I'm considering a strange decision.
yeah, I think you did, if I remember, but
Mm,
I don't know, maybe. And then I have a good hand too. I mean, I have a Haven, but unfortunately, it's marked for one of those mesmerizes, which is a little unfortunate.
yeah.
But the rest of my hand is good. Like I have 3 pieces of card advantage, which
Mm,
is what I want to see. Um, yeah, and then I think you won the die roll and chose to go second, which was good for you to
mm-hmm.
do, I think. And then yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think I was
yeah,
excited about this. Just wanted out, cast a sprout, rip it off the top.
yeah, makes sense. Just developing.
Mm.
Cephalia is I don't know, it could do some stuff.
Yeah, I was holding it for a while, and then I think I just decided, all right, I'm not gonna get blue mana. It's fine. I'll just mana it. I think I should have mannered Bone Blades first, frankly. If I didn't,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, because I haven't played an Ironwill tree yet,
Mm,
and yeah, you're gonna get the first mesmerize through anyways. So,
mm,
but yeah, I mean, you could have held. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, I think this is fine.
And
I
then
could have
yeah, I
held the
think,
Bone Blades, but like if I play 2 out of my 3 Mesmerizes before you slap down an Iron Will, and I see that you don't have the Iron Will, I don't really mind it.
and then yeah, I guess like the choice here is like, do you want to try to like disrupt my progression and like my curve, which it looks like you do with the by taking the Reap and Sow,
Mm,
especially because you have the second mesmerize follow up. Like it could be a risk if I top deck a tree, but that's not very likely.
exactly.
Um, and maybe that's like a reason. I mean, you didn't know the hand beforehand, but maybe that's
Mm,
a reason to hold Mo Blades is like it gives you a little bit of leeway to take that line, but
yeah.
it seems kind of marginal. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a weird card to be playing around because I think if you had the choice, you probably would have just played it on 2, considering you haven't played anything yet, or
Yeah, but it's just
3.
like it just gives you the ability to respect it off the top because like we were saying, like the Cephalia is not doing a ton yet, but I think
Mm,
yeah, it's probably better is to just hold the Cephalia
yeah. Here I
and
top deck the
then
Yamgoth, and I go, God, dang, what do I do with this? I think I just
yeah,
mana the
combo
Yamgoth and
spot.
then rip Mesmerize number 2.
Yeah, and then yeah,
That'd
you're
be the
just
smart thing to do at least.
yeah, I think you want to take the Haven now,
Yeah, yeah,
which makes sense. And then
yeah.
yeah, you're set up pretty well here. Like I
Mm,
have a couple good ramp cards, but because you took the Reap and Sow, I'm like a little bit delayed on being able to deploy those. And then
mm,
you've got the Ramnoth next turn, which I mean, my deck doesn't really do a good job answering. Like the only
mm.
way I have to really take it off the board is Lyra or Root Trap, both of which don't really do a good job denying you the mana.
Yep.
So There I draw Sprout, which I probably just charge. Yep.
Yep. I
Hmm.
think I mana Ophelia here because I realized that you're not just going to have cards that's going to be mediocre draw the
Yeah,
entire
it's
time.
better.
I'd rather just
Yeah,
have the memory.
yeah, because the body doesn't matter too much, right? Because you're going +1 most likely with the Cephalia,
Hmm.
but, like, the +1 you'd rather have, like, a specific card from your deck than a random 2K body and a random card from your deck,
Mm.
like, I guess is the thought there,
Yeah,
which makes
absolutely.
which makes sense to me. There, yeah. I mean, it was nice that I've just been kinda top decking crappy cards that I can charge without feeling bad about it, and then
True.
just get to play my ramp cards,
Mm. Now you're up
but
to 8 if I'm counting correctly, which is a little bit scary for me because it
yeah.
means anything you rip off the top, you could mana the Verdant and scare me.
Mhm. And
And
here, I think you forgot the Ramnoth, but we
yeah,
could
you reminded me this one time, but I was unhappy about it because I hold
oh, yeah.
myself to a higher standard of play than that.
That's
Uh,
fair. It's
yeah,
at a weird phase, to be honest.
yeah.
We really used to just
Mm,
I'd probably forget it too because 'cause it's been a long time since I've actually, like, played the card in one of my decks and
mm.
resolved its effect.
I'd never have played this card on paper in person. I've only played it via cockatrice because I only played very budget decks in the old Kaijudo days, so
Yeah.
I could never like build a control list with the all of the expensive supers. So
Mhm.
it's not a timing that I've practiced. But also, I should just read my cards and know what they do. That's on me.
Yeah. Oh, there, yeah, so you just mana the Grudge Weaver and I think,
Yeah. Now,
uh
what did I memory into? I want to say I memoried into a Kurgar.
yeah, I think so because 'cause you're just setting up, and then, yeah,
Yeah.
you just play the Kurgar next turn, and then untap with the Kurgar plus Ramnoth is always nice.
Hmm.
So you're set up pretty well to
Yeah.
take advantage of that.
And if I'm hand tracking correctly, I know that the last card in your hand is Verdant Helix, and I know okay, that's not removal, it's not a threat, so I'm not particularly afraid.
Mhm.
It represents kind of a pseudo threat in that you could rip some stuff out of mana, but you're still at 8, so ripping stuff out of mana puts you back down to 6. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably if I do anything, it would be just, like, get back the single Cassiopeia, I think. And
Hmm.
there I draw Reap and Sow, so now it's like I'd probably just play the Reap and Sow, right? And
Yeah,
then,
yeah, for
I
sure.
hold the Helix for later in the game to potentially rebuy that Cassiopeia because I don't know. Yeah, it makes more sense to do that, I guess.
Mm,
Reap and Sow gives me, like, an extra look at, the card this turn for next turn, like, an just digs me deep for the 10 drops.
mm, mm. Reshuffle some mana around, but it's still the same amount of mana, just moving stuff.
Yeah, I guess, just waste some
Yeah,
time.
just
Double
thinking.
checking.
We spent a
Yeah.
lot of time in these matches just thinking. So if I fast forward at some point, that'll be why.
Yeah, there's some dead spot. I think we were also talking for a while at different points in the match too.
Yeah, we did
So
some chatting.
there's probably a little yeah. Feel
Yeah,
free to
you
skip
could
ahead.
actually see in the dead spot here.
Yeah, I don't know what we were talking about. I don't know what I was thinking
Yeah,
about.
you ripped Reap and Sow, and then you maned a Tendril and drew a Lyra. Okay, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. It's a pretty easy
yeah. I
choice
mean,
there, I
it
think.
does stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, it gives you a body to contest board, and it gets you up to 9. Like the fairly easy choices, IMO.
yeah. And the tendril also looking especially bad when I'm fairly certain you're gonna drop a Kurgar the following turn.
Mm,
So yeah, now you have. I mean, you have the stuff in play.
mm,
There's like a thought, like yeah, there's no reason you would want to attack there really.
yeah.
Definitely, like it would just be really bad. So there's
Argument.
maybe
Sorry, good.
yeah, there's maybe a thought to if I do nothing this turn, maybe you make an attack next turn, I would think.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
okay, he hasn't done anything nearly the entire game. I need to start punching him in the face before the Havens come out, and
Yeah.
I've got 5 shields represented on board. So
But yeah, just sending in for 2 random shields in the face, like I could just flip a root trap and that's terrible. I could just draw any 10 drop out of my shields and that's really terrible for you too. So
mm,
yeah, punching there would probably not be advised.
yeah, not unless I kind of have to hit something meaty off the Kurigar.
So yeah, there I have the choice to like play the lemon as a blocker, but I just want to play them. I value it more as a mana, I think. Even though it's potentially like a card that could end up in my mana zone anyways, like I'm not super confident that you're gonna make an attack.
Mm,
which maybe I'm not sure. I could see arguments against that.
Yeah, I think that's when you have to consider playstyle, because as a person like me, I would have punched you in the face because I just like playing aggro. I knew I needed to go under
Yeah.
you anyway, so I kind of have to get
It
ballsy at some
it's
point.
also so much that, like, I don't mind. Like, there's a good chance, like, if you just hit me with the Kurgar, I would probably just like, I'd rather just take the hit than block with the lemon,
That's true. You want the
I
cards
think.
because I could just give
So
you Haven.
I probably don't even block, so I would rather just have the 10 mana now, but then the thing is, like, the difference between I don't know, it's kinda weird because if you punch me in the face, then I have a bunch of cards to charge anyway, so
Mm,
yeah, I mean, there's a good argument to maybe just play the lemon there.
yeah,
So yeah, that probably a mistake. I don't know.
it's hard to say.
But you're
So
doing your Kurgar stuff?
yep, here to recap. I rammed off trigger, maned me a Grip of Despair, and rammed off actually happens before the untap step, which is pretty cool. So even though it was multi-save, I could have used that mana if I wanted to.
Mhm.
And then I mana the Tivster because that guy wasn't doing anything.
Yeah,
To
just got
give me
another one.
another ramp off of uh off of Kurigar, which I don't think it gave me anything once again. No, it gave me the Blue Warden, sorry. And then I just slammed an Artichoke because
Yeah,
I
makes sense, just bodies in play is good.
yeah, yeah.
And you decide not to attack, which,
Mm.
yeah, I mean,
I didn't get the big enough bodies that I wanted off the Kurigar ramp,
yeah.
and especially with the Ramnoth tapped, I kind of wanted to slap 5 shields all at once. So,
Yeah, it makes sense because you have this value engine, you have protection, like 2 layers of protection for the Ramnos, so you're gonna be getting more like, the Kurgar is gonna have a decent chance to keep running away with things. Like, if I top deck a Root Trap or something, like, that would maybe
that
be
would have been
bad
pretty
for you,
bad.
but again,
Yeah.
like, you could just break the Root Trap and shields and your position's not that much better, like, it's
Mm-hmm.
probably worse. So, it makes sense to just sit back, accumulate here.
Mm. This Andro is backbreaking, or I guess life saving, depending on how you want to think of it.
Yeah, that's just a draw. I mean, I haven't seen any of my bombs yet, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, it was
halfway
about
through my
time for
deck.
that. That was one of the key things I'm thinking. Like, okay, it's about time for this.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
think I start
yeah,
having some nice draws, but that's I mean, that's what the deck does. It to some extent, it is playing off the top. But if I don't do that, then what I'm doing is just, like, playing Helix, getting back the Cassiopeia that turn, and, like,
mm,
setting up to do cast next turn, and then
yeah,
ooh, you're doing some stuff, man, holy.
yeah. I jammed a Kurigar here. I was excited. I got the Agrix off the first Kurigar ramp start of turn. It was pretty cool. I'm like, I think at this point I said, you know what, it's safe. I gotta start punching you in the face here.
Yeah, makes sense.
If I didn't, I think that would have been weird because I had again like a bunch of protection. My board beats over yours. Wow,
Mm.
I that's a mistake. I think I should have started going in.
Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see that. Like, I think, again, you're, like, just thinking about and yeah, I'm just drawing nice now.
Yeah,
Doing very nice.
yeah, and that's I guess what I was afraid of. I didn't want to give you something really good and then just like you beat me up. But oh, I selected everything. Whoops.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, I could see like, there's just so many cards you give me out of shields that are good, but yeah,
Mhm.
like, you built up enough residual stuff that you probably just wanna start sending there. But,
Yeah, I
like,
think I was just playing scared.
yeah, it's just rough though, because like, I mean, yeah, like, a Haven comes down and then, like, that clears the like, a Kurgar, and it's just hard to attack through, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know, it's tricky, it's definitely tricky, and this is, like, the power of Andromeda too, is it just does like, 7 shields is so many more than 5.
Yeah, yeah. Like you'd think 2 is not that much more than 5. 7 is not that much more, but like turns out that's a huge difference.
Yeah, coupled with the Ostrike. I mean, Ostrike not the most relevant on that board at that turn, but,
Hmm.
like, obviously still
Yeah.
I mean, Terrapit's a nice draw there.
Yeah, I think I have to kill a Cassie here because it's just bigger than my Kurigar,
Yeah,
and
just
that
some
was like
wins.
concerning. The Andro wasn't actually all that bad. I wasn't like that scared of it, quote unquote.
Yep, no, I agree with that. And then I think do I peel another just another Andromeda? No problem.
Naughty.
No. I mean, I could think about just buying back a Cassiopeia again,
Hmm.
but and then clearing the Agrix, and then it's not, like, the worst
Mm. But if you
spot
beat
for
over the
me.
Agrix, then I can clear with one Kurigar, and then I've got a very dominant board position again.
Yeah, but I have the Andro to replay the next turn too.
True.
Or, yeah, like, a few turns down, but if I, like, play or I would just replay the cast and then tap, so I don't know, it's weird. I
Mm,
could just, like, play to try to remove your Kurgars by going, but that seems kinda slow. Might as well just get more shields.
mm. And this is the
Deck
downside
out
to sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
oh, yeah, I was gonna say deck out could be a concern, but at
Mm.
the same time with 2 Kurgars, like, um,
Yeah, how much am I pulling from deck as well?
yeah, you pull a lot, and it's a mandatory effect too, so it can get weird.
Mhm,
It can get weird when we're talking about deck out situations.
mhm. You did also kill my Ramnoth, which is super relevant because that was, like, kind of the only thing really powering those Kurgars at the moment.
Mhm.
This is something that I was kinda thinking about as
That's a
well.
lot of shields.
So many shields.
That is a lot of shields.
Mm, that's a lot of damage. And
Yeah.
here it would have been really nice if you just attacked my Blue Warden for no discernible reason and just gave me 2 more creatures, but you
Yeah,
didn't.
I don't think I'm doing that.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense to just clear the Agrics here.
yeah.
Agrics is annoying because like, it does yeah, whatever.
I guess you didn't want
It
me to
does
beat
stuff.
over your own Andromeda.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm thinking, like, if this dude attacks me and I get an Energize, I can just, like, clear both Kurgars with my Andromedas, even if I don't find a Haven.
Mm,
So maybe that's the thought.
mm,
And this is an interesting rip because
yeah.
you can go for, like, 4 triggers,
Yeah, I think I just
which is a
grossly
lot.
misplayed here. I think I just charged the Verdant, or maybe I played it.
I think you played it and picked stuff up.
Yeah, I think I played it and picked stuff up, which is like,
It is one of the weirder options. I
I
mean, it
feel like I
makes
should have just jammed it, frankly.
just ramped up.
Yeah, I should have just ramped and gotten 4 procs. That's the only way I would have probably been in a winning position there. That
'Cause, yeah, if
was,
you get back the goop, because you want an answer to Haven, because 'cause you're concerned about that coming down, which makes sense to some
yeah, and I
extent.
think I picked up the Sephilia to justify.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that
a
was it.
well,
The Sephilia was to justify.
attacking,
Yeah,
right? Because
when I bust a ton of shields, I can reload too, and I figure I could just go wide. Okay.
yeah, I think we were oh, yeah, we had another chat at this
Yeah,
point because we were
we
like
had a long conversation about this, as you all could see.
because you were
Uh,
like, "Do you wanna go in or should I go in or not?" And then
yeah,
I
then we
think
had to
trying to
consider it.
get you I was trying to
Mm.
get you to attack because I want some of those 9 cards. That's a
I
lot of
can't
cards
imagine
down.
why.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice things I can
We're back. Technical difficulties aside,
mm,
I hit him in the face.
yeah, there was a
Oh,
break.
oh no! Behave,
Just one
cockatrice, behave. Yeah, I think I swung with the Kurigar, and because the double Andro, I had to tap and tap. I
Yeah,
think
and
that,
then you just attacked you made the one attack rather than tap your whole board, I guess, because you don't wanna lose everything,
yeah,
I
which
suppose.
felt a little weird. Um,
Yeah,
maybe I should have just gone to the dome with Kurigar again and just said, well, if I'm committing cards, I'm committing cards. You know, answer
yeah.
this or die.
I mean, it's tough because like, one Haven is just like your whole board is gone, basically.
Exactly. And I was really afraid of that, especially if I gave you 6 cards and I hadn't seen a Haven outside of the one that I discarded with
Yeah,
at the very beginning. Like I hadn't seen one the
yeah,
entire time. And you only play 40 cards. You know, it's not like it's a big old 50 card pile. So,
mhm. So, yeah, and even an Energize is also like, just one Energize also does it.
mhm.
I mean, I
Mhm.
can't clear the, Agrics that way, but I could,
Mhm.
like, go Lyra plus Energize, and then your board's gone as well,
Yeah.
um,
Scary
so that's
stuff.
kinda rough. But yeah, I mean, this kinda makes sense too, because like, I guess the idea is, like, you just give me, as modest amount of cards as you can,
A
and then
modest
try to
amount.
set yeah, and then you try to set up for, like, a two-turn kinda lethal
Mhm.
is the idea, I suppose.
Yeah. That
But yeah.
was generally the idea, but
Mhm.
Haven will have other plans for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties combined with outside life barging down my door. But let's recap. Haven was played. I was clenched. Uh,
Yeah, and then I cleared Kurgar, I
yeah,
guess?
you cleared one Kurgar with an Andro, and um, thankfully,
And I
I guess this is why I didn't attack with everything to leave me some defense if I needed it.
yeah, and I think this is also yeah, I have the cast for next turn too, so
Yeah,
things are going bad.
yeah, at this point, this game is pretty locked up. I made some weird decisions at the beginning about being aggressive, and clearly they're not paying.
Yeah, which is crazy because you had, like, the active Kurgars for a long time with the
hmm
Ramnoth, and it kinda went how I, like, felt it did in my preparation, which is like it just usually like one andro just bought me tons of time, and then I find other stuff, and
Mm.
I don't know, it just kind of works out where I just kind of get there in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think we had a long chat this time too, where we were talking about like I think you were like, should I just concede here? Like, what should I do?
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
was very actively considering it because like I have next to no outs outside of like
yeah, and I think
somehow forcing
yeah,
Goop Striker into Haven.
yeah, and I think I was like, well, you could just like you could hit a Squillis off the top,
Mm.
and that can do some stuff.
Yeah,
But
and lo and behold, spoilers.
yeah, yeah, there's a discussion. You
Yeah,
can probably fast forward.
yeah. Fast forward through this.
But yeah, I
Apologies,
mean,
y'all.
you
It's a
have
little
stuff, like,
scuffed.
you get lots of looks too, because like, you got the Gaia, you got the Blue Morden, so, like, you can attack with Agrics and, like, banish a bunch of stuff. You can get
Mm,
a lot of looks off the Kurgar, which gets you I mean, you can look at, like, a quarter of your deck,
mm.
which is
That was
pretty
my other big consideration. That Agrix was gonna have to do a lot of work and break a crud ton of shields very quickly.
yeah.
Um, and here I very briefly had to do math because I almost forgot about the a Squilly because I almost forgot about the buff that Haven gives all the light creatures. So I had to kill an additional thing. And it's yeah.
Yeah, so you attack.
Mm.
Hmm.
I think I only tapped and untapped that BAT just because I was thinking about like
Yeah, the Ostrike, but
yeah, I thought Andro triggered on all attacks and not just the face because again, I think this match was my second match in the tournament, and this is still the second match of Kaijudo I've played in like over a year. So
yeah, it's
still
been a
shaking off the
while.
rust on some of those cards that I don't play very often.
But yeah, you go for the Andro attack, and then
Mm,
hit the Squillis to get it clean through, which worked out, and then
mm,
I don't know, like, you could have attacked face, I guess, if you're praying for the Squillis, and maybe like, I could see that being pretty viable. Obviously,
mm,
it gets weird, though, because you have to, like, banish for Agrix before Ostrike, so
mm, mm.
it's kinda tricky, and then I have nice just nice 2 Shield Blasts, which works out in the
Yep,
face of a Squillis, and then
yep.
here, I was thinking, like, should I Root Trap the Kurgar, or should I get fancy and Root Trap the Squillis? Because I was worried, like, if you draw your second Grip of Despair,
Mm,
like, you can just bounce the Squillis back and replay it, but then while I was thinking about that, I just, like, missed it, like, the second Grip was already in your discard pile.
yep.
Because I think
Yeah, there's one in mana and there's one here.
you just discarded did you just discard it
I
off the
believe
Squillis?
so off the Squilly.
Yeah, so I missed that, so I was like, "Oh, crap, if he has 1 left, like, I'm really" like, he could just
Mm,
peel that and just steal this game from me.
yeah, and cycle it.
But I decided, like, "No, I'll just hit the Kurgar,"
Yeah,
when I realized, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm
probably
safe.
safe. Hmm.
I'm safe."
And now I'm just
Uh,
sitting here like, dang it, this game is over because I need to clear pretty much all of your shields that turn,
yeah,
or
the
just be in a
Storm
better
Spark
position.
was pretty clutch. I mean,
Yeah,
Arbiter would be good too, like, there was a lot of stuff that I had that
yeah. A good
racked up.
portion of your deck was plenty for that.
And here, I believe I just rebuy or yeah, I just Reap and Sow, which is a nice
Mm, yeah.
draw, I guess. Draw another Haven back up.
Mm,
But I still
hey,
kinda like I'm at the mercy of, like,
mm,
some stuff. I don't know.
yeah. Is
But,
yeah.
yeah, I'm
There's
not
a
really
round
too
off,
sure.
but little too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like, I mean, you could do some stuff, like, to try to clear the Haven, I guess, like
Yeah, I have to make some weird attacks and tap a bunch of things in order to, and then you have to like kind of misplay and let me jam a Goop Striker into the Haven.
yeah, but the thing is, like, even in my spot, I'm not too concerned because, like, if things go weird, I have a backup Haven anyways.
Hmm. I think at this
So
point,
it's like
my only like viable plan was just okay. Let's just go as wide as we can, and if he dirtles too much, maybe I get through.
yeah, because like, I think you passed this turn, I forget, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely passed this turn. I would not go into this because this would be suicide. I don't
Yeah,
have the manpower to kill.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it'd be awkward.
yeah. Also of note, I am pretty dang sure. Yeah, there's a Kurigar, there's a Kurigar, there's a Kurigar. Out of Squalache, out of top end. I'm kind of out of resources. I don't have much else that I can really use to kill you.
Yeah, and I did a good job, like, finding a lot of my bomb cards. I mean, I got 6 shields, like, that's also why Andromeda's so broken. I mean, I just,
Yeah.
like, drew 4 cards, like, a bunch of extra cards, like, it's yeah,
It
it's
turns
just
out that's like pretty decent most of the time.
I mean, yeah.
This is like
Andromeda's
IK.
Andromeda for a reason.
Yeah. Man,
But
DSI was a mistake.
yeah, maybe, maybe. But yeah, now I just drop Haven and
Yeah, this game is so over. Like the
yeah,
timeline
there's
says that there's a lot, but I think I just forgot to hit F2
um
for a while.
well, the thing is like what's it called? Absolute Darkness is still a draw, like that just lets you attack through.
Mm,
So that card could just steal the game.
yeah.
If you I forget if you have it though. I think you do.
I do have 2 copies of Absolute Darkness actually.
So yeah, I'm kind of clenching for those
Mm,
cuz yeah, I mean you have like that draw would just yeah, I mean that's good too.
mm. But
And
with
there
2 Havens now, Absolute Darkness still like now doesn't do anything because it doesn't
no,
even
no,
mitigate the
cuz
buff.
oh, maybe you misplayed then. Yeah, I think you could have won this. Because Absolute Darkness, doesn't let me block.
Really? Does it say
It has
that? I have
yeah, it has a
unironically
trick.
forgotten that entirely.
Because yeah, when you top deck the Crystal Memory, I was like, "Oh, crap," and then I
Oh, then
thought like,
I
"Okay."
threw. Then I had it until the end. And I literally threw. Ooh, read your cards, kids. Read your cards.
Yeah, like, I think I could have probably gone for lethal that turn as well, because I think you were out of Shield Blast.
Yeah,
Um,
that would have been correct. I was surprised you didn't, especially with Havens being the blockers that they are.
yeah, because I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure you were out, because I was like, "Oh, I just have lethal next turn," but I
Hmm.
think or no, I think you had 1 pit or
Hmm.
something, I forget.
Yeah, Cockatrice does not let me look at my deck during the action, but
Yeah, I guess we'll see your shields when I break them. But,
yeah.
um but yeah, if you had the absolute because I when you did play the Cordia, I was like, "Okay, maybe he just has both darkness are in his shield zone," which could
Hmm.
still be the case, but
Yeah, I just unironically forgot that card did that.
so yeah, that could have been a win.
Yeah, it could have been.
So yeah, I mean, it was kinda like I said, like, again, like, like, a Kurgar is not that scary, I just eventually stabilize,
Mhm,
but the only thing that could really be a problem is, like, a perfectly timed Squillis, and then you flip the Squillis off, like, the
mhm.
one ramp.
I had plenty of
That
opportunities to win this game, and definitely a little unhappy with that. Read your cards, kids. Read your cards.
yeah,
I was
and
like,
then, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
now I know for sure, like, that there's nothing you can do. I think we were talking about it for a bit, but I'm pretty sure I just eventually just
yeah. I think you
like,
opt
now
to
I
clear
know
board here, and then it's
nah,
over.
no, no, I go for game this turn 100%. I think it just takes me a long time, just being BM a little bit.
That's true. That's true. Well, it's playing safely. It's not BM.
Yeah, just in case, like, some magical card appears out of the ether and just ends up in your shield zone,
Hmm.
you flip up the one of Stormspark that,
Yeah, skillfully.
yeah, was not in your deck list. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Issue myself the game loss.
yeah, I forget. I think I just, like, was really lazy that last turn and just was like, "Okay, I have guaranteed game next turn with the Havens."
Mm,
Um, so I'm just gonna be lazy and not look for Shield Blast and double check that, but I think knowing that you have the Darkness as a potential draw,
hmm.
um, yeah, that might have been better. Like, if I it was true that I could have just surveyed oh, no, you did have the pit, so never mind,
Yeah.
never mind.
As it turns
Okay, I
out,
would've
it did not matter at all because I just didn't read darkness. Whoops.
yeah, so never mind, you did have a 1 pit left, which
Yeah.
it could have been still right for me to go for game last turn, and, like, if all you have is 1 pit compared to,
Hmm.
like, 2 darkness in deck, like, it's probably more likely that I don't know.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that could have been a little bit of throws on both of our halves, to be honest. Although you had the pit, so you would have probably won that game
It
if
depends
you
on how big your board was, because you also had more board clear potentials. Because I think you had the Verdant, so you could have grabbed another Cassie. So
mm,
if you really wanted to play it like ultra safe, you could have cleared my board the next turn and then gone in for
yeah.
a totally uncontested lethal. It would have been a very slow
Well,
answer.
I was just meaning, like, the turn before when I replayed the second Haven.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
Like,
could have gone for game that turn, and then instead
mhm,
I kinda left myself open to the darkness,
mhm,
so that could have been wrong. Um, but yeah, like you said, maybe you just weren't clued in on the, extra line of text.
yeah. I'm just like, yeah, minus 6K across the board. Got it. No problem. This costs a little too much. Whatever.
Yeah,
Turns out that secondary effect is pretty relevant. Unironically,
it can
probably
be.
would have won me the game.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know my shields, but I
Mm,
think you had a bunch of creatures, so unless I had, like, the last Storm Spark down, I was probably dead.
yeah, I think so.
Um, so yeah, interesting. That was maybe
Mm,
some throws, some awkward play, a perfectly timed score. I mean, your deck gave you a lot of what you needed to win the matchup, and you just couldn't it was close. Like, you had the well-timed Squillis, you had the
mm.
Ramnoth Kurgar going, you
I got
had
so
double
lucky off
Mesmer.
that. That was just like one Squillis off the top too, because I only play the one. And it's a 51 card deck, and I had like
Yeah.
17 cards left in the deck at the time. That was
Yeah, that
so lucky.
I mean, yeah, that was, kind of insane because I remember, like, being like, "Well, you could just hit a Squillis here," and then you hit the Squillis, which was kind of insane.
That's what you
And,
get for speaking it into existence.
yeah, I guess so. And then I mean, it's good that I didn't say Absolute Darkness out loud.
Yeah, truly, truly.
And then, yeah, and you had the 2 Mesmerize as well,
Mm,
which definitely got there because I mean, it took one of the Havens, which it took me a while to get those set up again, but
yeah, that was a
eventually did.
huge opening. Like everything kind of went right there, and I still kind of dumpstered it. But
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly Andromeda. That card was, like we
yeah,
just talked about, was pretty insane for me. But
eh,
yeah,
yeah.
game 2 here.
Mm.
Um,
We both have
yeah,
pretty. Well, I have a pretty rampy hand.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I like your hand a lot for
mm,
sure. I think you go second again, which makes sense because 'cause you're looking for a dark mana and
yep.
you have a bunch of card advantage. I don't know, I mean, you could
Mm,
try to get out ahead by going first because you have a bunch of card advantage, so I could see
mm,
an argument for that with this hand because you don't have the Mesmerize either, so I could see that,
mm,
but my hand also would really like to go second because it's just pretty inactive.
yeah. I think I just determined kind of from the jump. I'm like, nah, I kind of always want to go second here.
Yeah, that's fair. Um,
I don't remember what I managed here. I remember these being really tough decisions.
hmm. Yeah, I think
I might have managed
yeah,
the
that is
Kurigar.
tricky because
I
like, the
re-
bloom
because
the
I
board
know
is
I
just,
wanted
like,
Rip Sprout,
awkward.
and then I was happy that I got Dark Mana.
Yeah, but then it's like you have to kind of charge your top deck and like a multi-civ you're playing off. Yeah, but this makes sense because like I
Yeah,
don't know.
it was weird. I don't quite remember 100% of
It,
my thinking, but I remember being salty. Hey, look, it's the relevant card.
yeah, that got
And
you in.
can't block this turn. Don't read your cards, kids. Read your cards.
So yeah, now you get to play on curve, which is nice.
Hmm.
And because yeah, now you just have the clean. So yeah, if you top deck the multi-civ, it would have been pretty brutal. But
Yeah,
I mean, you're still gonna have the time to play. But I mean, my hand's shaping up too. Like the Reap and Sow is great here.
yeah. The Reap and Soul's killer, and you keep picking
Um,
up things that like you just don't want to play, like Arbiters and Root Traps. Well, you
yeah,
kind
I
of want
mean
to play Root Trap, but like
yeah, the Root Trap is
it's
like
too
a
early.
card that I'm not I think I was maybe thinking like, do I maybe I don't charge this because I
Hmm.
already have like the mana to curve into Rudin Verdant Helix. So
Hmm.
there was like a thought in my head like maybe I should just hold this Root Trap to answer the Kurgar.
Hmm.
I think I decided not to just because I wanted to be able to like Helix and then just play a 10 drop. And like that just if you play a Kurgar, I can just play a Cass or a Haven. So it's maybe a little more hopeful, but I
Hmm.
felt like just getting to 10 mana was more important than trying to play slow and hold this reactive card. So
Yeah.
I mean there's an argument because going down to one root trap left in deck, I mean that's like a somewhat valuable answer card. So
Hmm.
but there's the cast, so whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't really matter at this point. Here I am sorting my mana by color.
Perfect.
Got to make sure it's easily visible, and then I ruined it by dragging the tipster atop the multi-sieve anyway.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean that's fine. Darkseid doing his job. You're
Mm-hmm.
set up well to go into your stuff, but I'm ooh, two big things. But I got all three Andromedas, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is not the top deck I wanted to see.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I
yeah. I
needed
mean,
some single color.
yeah, you have one creature, so it's like a giant bronze arm tribe, I guess, for the follow up to Krugar. But
Mm,
having to not being able to go Krugar into Krugar is a bit unfortunate
yeah. Yeah, I
for
think I
sure.
just decided, okay, fine, I'm down a Kurigar.
Yeah.
But that did not feel good.
And I think I just go for the cast here, I guess.
That would make sense.
It would be unfortunate if you top deck a Terrapin, which to be honest, I think you did. Um,
God, I
maybe
hope I
not.
did.
I think you did. I think I remember being like, it would be suck if you drew a Terrapin, and I think you did. So we'll see. We'll see. But I mean, yeah, I charged the Stormspark to do it, I think, which
Hmm.
I don't know. There's an argument to just play the Andromeda and then hold those two board clears.
Hmm.
Crystal Memory, not Terrapin. That's good. That's good.
Woo! I don't remember. I remember grabbing. Oh, okay. I did Discordia because I could pull the Bronze Orb out of mana and then ramp and then get a Krogar trigger.
Walker. Ooh. Giant. Oh yeah. Okay. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
beefcake.
mixing it up. I'm just
Yep.
mixing everything up. That is nice though.
Yeah.
Just a lot of
Those.
power.
Yeah, it was just bodies, and I said, all right, he hasn't played a blocker. Let's just see if we can win next turn.
Ooh. That's even better.
And then, yeah, then that happened.
Yeah. I mean, even without that, I'm still in obviously a pretty good spot because I'm just dropping the Andromeda. But
And yeah.
obviously, I'm not going to complain about seeing that.
Hmm.
And I think like on your spot, I mean, it makes sense. I think with me only at 5 shields, you're probably looking to set up Squillis here.
Mm.
I would imagine. Ideally, it's in your deck and not your shield zone.
Yeah, no kidding.
Um,
I'm
yeah.
at 6, 8, 10 mana right now. So I think I opted to hold the Bone Blades just because if I pick up my third Kurigar, which I considered going into here, I wanted to have something to be able to like easily mana like from the hand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You just don't care about because yeah, if the Squillis isn't in your deck, then you want to maybe get a Kurgar, and then yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I made that deliberate decision. Like usually I would just kind of like he plays 6 targets for this card in the entire deck. I do not care about like actually ripping the Bone Blade, like playing the
Yeah,
Bone Blades, but the ability to charge it is like relevant.
yeah, I like that. Yeah, I guess taking some time checking your shields most likely, or
Yep, that was exactly it. I don't totally remember what was in there, but I remember I was unhappy, and I'm like, man, what do I do?
yeah,
Because I kind of had a feeling at this point, like, is you I've learned from Hearthstone that you got to do a lot of hand tracking in this game, and I had tracked that you had been holding one card in your hand for a considerable amount of time, like 4 or 5 turns, which was the Andros.
mhm,
So I'm like, that's either a clear or another stabilization piece or something.
mhm,
And I just said, "Yep, okay, I'm probably dead here." Because I didn't have anything for that
yeah.
Haven, and the Cassie is just bigger than anything in my deck.
Ooh. And there's the second Haven, but
Yeah,
I think I go for the Andro here, just because I'm pretty sure, like I'm at this point, I'm pretty confident that Squillis is coming, and I
yep,
just want as many shields as possible. So I just decide that the Andro's better.
yeah, and it definitely the Ostrich alone saves you quite a few shields,
And then, I mean, you can always answer the Ostrike with a Terror Pit, but then, like,
and not developing a board
yeah,
or playing the Squilly.
yeah, and then, but I mean, it would be good on the second turn, but yeah, at that point, it's kind of
Yeah.
awkward. But I mean, the Terror Pit could come out of shields because I also decide to just,
Mm.
I don't know, maybe
I think if you play the Andro the second turn,
I
then
think
it's
I
too
decide
late.
to just go for just
Yeah.
to try to break everything, which I don't know is a bit iffy, I guess.
I mean, I don't have the power on board to kill, and I don't have a Shield Blast that can kill a Haven. So you're pretty
Yeah,
safe in this decision.
yeah, and if you want
You're
to
kind of
protect
guaranteed
your
to win the
shield.
race.
Yeah, because like, this just puts you on the back foot. Yeah, like you said, like, the worst case, though, is, like, you have a bunch of blockers, but if you're gonna be going in with like, I have so many giant tap effects, like Arbiter, Stormspark, Cast, even, like,
Mm,
more Lyras or something of that nature.
mm,
Like, there's a lot of stuff that I can find.
yeah.
And also, like, if I get an Iron Will tree off this attack, it's also really huge.
Mm.
And then, yeah, again, I just Interesting. Yeah. No iron will tree, but no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean that makes sense to me. Just try to get everything, and like you said, like I'm winning the race. Like you have to try to kill me, but there's so many good cards I can get out of my shields this turn, and I
Mm,
have like yeah. I mean drawing the yeah. I mean I think I'm out of Andromedas though, so
mm. I think here I chose to play the two blockers, the Grudge and the Bloom, rather than the Squilly, which seems a bit weird, but I wanted to be able to play like more threats the next turn. And your Haven was already tapped, and there was no Andro on the board, and I saw that you didn't pitch the Andro, so the Off-Strike was coming. So I wanted to go wide with the blockers. I wanted to be able to Squilly the next turn, because Haven can't block me this turn, and I wanted to just
mhm.
be able to slap down two blockers and live, but I didn't obviously know that you had drawn the Arbiter, which
Yeah, the
kind of did
arbiter.
things. But that felt like kind of my only quote-unquote winning line, so to speak,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
it's too early for the Squilly. I just couldn't clear the board. Or I couldn't clear your shields and then go for game the next.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like I could see like if you just jam the Squillis and play the Grudge Weaver, right? You can play both, right? I think.
I
Yeah.
could have, but I still don't think that's wide enough for
Because I
the
mean, it
off
gets
strike.
the thing is like the you're discarding the Andro with the Squillis, right? And
That's
then
true.
I have no Andros left.
Mm,
So I mean, obviously, if I get a cast out of shields, which I only have one of left as well, but if I mean, if that's coming down at some point out of shields
mm,
off the first Squillis break, whenever that is, because I don't think it. I think you're gonna have to plan on trying to kill me over 2 turns,
yeah. I
and
think I just figured that this was the case, and I probably forgot the fact that Squilly would pitch your Andro as well. I'm just like, yeah, he's got the Andro, and Squilly pitches my cards, and wait, that didn't click. So,
yeah, because I don't know, it's tough because like the Squillis you have to top deck, which is kind of the issue
mm,
because then you're yeah. I mean, it's awkward,
yeah,
but I think yeah, just trying to break like 5 shields that turn and then try to get through or like break a number, maybe force out a Storm Spark.
mm.
'Cause
I
I'm
think the fact that
pretty
your Haven was already tapped was like a big thing for me because it couldn't block one of my things. I was just really didn't want you to kill one of my things the first of two turns. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think your best chance there is probably to just
Damn Squilly.
'cause yeah, not jamming it means I get the Andro,
Yeah.
and then 9 shields and strike is like,
Hmm.
you're not winning. So, like, yeah, just g that turn's probably your best chance. So I think, yeah, that you probably just gotta jam it there and
Yeah.
hope, but yeah, I like you're probably not likely getting there, but
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I figured I have to play a little bit greedy anyway because like I'm so far behind. Like, okay, let's just
Mhm.
go super super wide. Let's get another Ramnoth down. Let's do the thing. And then if I need to with the Squilly, I might be able to go. I've got a 3 turn lethal instead of two, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Hypothetically,
if I
and that's more sustainable in my head. But again,
yeah.
forgot about the fact that I would discard the Andro with the Squilly for some reason. Uh,
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, cause like yeah, I don't think there's like if the second Andro resolves, I don't think there's a way you're beating it even
mm,
with the Squillis.
mm,
Whereas like either way, no matter what, I don't think you're beating me if I have the Storm Spark in my shields.
mm,
Um, so yeah, I think yeah, that's just your best spot there is to just jam it and pray.
yeah, yeah. Well,
And it's definitely not non-zero that you get there, but
mm,
or it is non-zero. I don't know what am I saying. Yeah, whatever.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Relevant. Not that I would have known about it, but both darknesses had been in shield since like turn 5 because of all the ramp. So, or
Mhm.
in shield in mana. So the out that I didn't know about was not available to me, and I
Yeah.
think no, there was another Kurragar back in the deck, but having to mana one earlier to play the first one really sucked.
Yeah, that was kinda rough. Just left you down.
Yeah,
Board presence. Yeah, I don't know. That was overall pretty. I mean, it showcased kind of how the matchup goes, I guess. Like, I think game one. I mean, yeah, I think you probably actually would have won if you had known about the darkness.
yeah.
Assuming again that
And if I'd
it was.
attacked at that one interesting spot, ahead of time.
Yeah.
That was
The tact decisions are pretty tricky, but yeah, there's maybe some spots where you could have gone in,
mhm. I think it
and
just
then
needed to
game,
play more aggressive.
and then yeah, I think maybe me also maybe yeah, my call was also weird where it's like, do I respect the pit or just pit and shields or like him top decking darkness? And I probably honestly made the wrong call, even though I probably made the wrong statistical call, but it was the right call based on what actually happened. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. There's some weird spots game one, but I mean, game one went really well for your deck in a lot of ways, and then game two, it went pretty well. Like I saw a lot of a lot of very nice cards at the right time.
Yeah. And I had some counterplay, but like I just man, you got to read your cards.
Yeah, I mean the Squillis would do if you had like more Squillis. I mean this is one of the matchups. Like it changes a lot if you're
More
just
than one.
packing three of
Yeah.
those. Yeah,
If
if
I
you're
could
packing
shade
three
them,
of
then I
those.
would agree spot.
Yeah, especially with Kurgar out, like digging for them and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
but yeah, I guess I mean that pretty much
Mhm.
caps it off for that match.
Yeah. I went in knowing that I was very much not favored because you just had, frankly, more threats than I had like answers to threats. So
Yeah,
I had a feeling if we got to the because neither of us really have an early game outside of like gain mana. So if we both get to the
exactly.
late game at roughly the same time,
It's rough.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess that not too much. Did you have any closing thoughts on anything, or do you want to just cap it off there?
Uh, read your cards, kids. I mean, it is what it is.
That's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It's very, very rare that I get to play control-ish matchup like this because I'm
Mhm.
just always more confident as like a aggro tempo mid range kind of player. So uh, I enjoy the heck out of these because they're very different. Even if I'm probably kind of bad at this archetype, but that's okay. It's fun, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was a fun match to play in. Kind of
Mm,
tense. Definitely sweating some spots, but I mean,
mm.
the light supers they show up, man. They show up when you need them. So
Yeah, light's good. Light is
yeah,
good.
definitely, no doubts. But
Mm.
yeah, so thanks to everyone for watching these videos. Stay tuned for more in the future. Thanks again, Stents, as well for coming on and helping a lot with these commentaries
Yep, yep. A lot of fun. Looking forward to the next one.
for sure. So we'll see you in the next videos.
See
Bye.
y'all next time. Peace.